Good evening, it's Jules Wyman here from juleswyman.com, and very quickly I am just going to check that this is going live and that all is working well. So bear with me 1 second as I just double check, because I've had some interesting challenges, shall we say, with a bit of the internet today, and it's also been a bit of a rush getting everything on time, hence why it's 7:01 and this has only just really gone live. But it is live. It's at a very odd angle, but it is live nonetheless. I apologise for the angle, but with rushing around today, I have again left my tripod at the office, so I can now shut my laptop down so I don't get disturbed by that. Oh, see, this is what happens when you don't bring the tripod home. The camera goes walkabout, so let me just do that. I'm going to drink my drink. Cheers. Merry Monday evening. And I shall remove that out of the way so that I then don't knock anything else over. Good evening, Caroline. Thank you for the wave. And for those of you that are joining live now, please do as Caroline has just done, and give us all a wave. And I know that Caroline will also be saying hello to everybody else because she does that. She's very generous, a lovely, friendly person. So, yeah, do as... good evening, Paul. How lovely to have you here as well. So make sure you drop in, say hi, let's have a chat. Lenka! Hey, my lovely, how lovely to have you here as well. So, yeah... going to go through, for those of you who've watched this live, I know that you are going probably very aware that at the beginning of these videos I do sort of like the housekeeping notes and everything like that. So please bear with me as I go through those. If you know any of them, then you'll feel free to jump in and show how everything works. So my intent behind the Confidence Garden videos is to reach as many people as possible and support them with wherever they're at, the changes and challenges that they may be facing, and share any insights, thoughts, comments, any experiences that I have had myself or gone through myself that I may be able to help with, but also to think about any exercises, any books, any conversations I've had with clients, conversations in workshops, things like that that are relevant to be able to share with you. Because as I was talking with somebody today, and they very eloquently said, you know, can't we clone you? And I said, well, no, but that's why I do things like this and my online courses and my talks and my workshops, so that I can reach as many people as possible, because not everybody wants to work one-on-one. Some people like to be in their own space. So make sure that you have given are giving yourself that space, and make sure everything else is switched off. You've got your do not disturb signs on the door, which is quite relevant for some people who I know have been watching this whilst they're doing their evening ablutions or their morning ablutions. So those of you who are watching me tomorrow morning, good morning. And to those of you who are also listening to on the recording, hello as well. And also to remember that even if you are watching on the recording, I will be inviting those of you who are watching live to do as all of you have done so far, which is type in at any point. Don't wait to be invited. Just type in your comments, type in your questions, your thoughts, your insights, whatever it may be. Please don't wait to be invited. Just go for it and type at any point. And I would also suggest to do exactly the same if you're watching this on the recording. Interact as if it's live. Obviously, I won't be able to, like I can with Moira. Hi, Moira. That was perfect timing. Be able to give you a shout out live when I am going live. But for all of you who are watching on the recording, whenever that may be, this hello is specifically for you, and to those of you in hotel rooms. Yes, Paul, good evening to you as well in a hotel room. So, yeah, wherever you are, do drop in and say hi, because it's great to know where you are. And if some of you I've met before, Caroline, I don't know if we've ever actually met, but I know we've interacted on here. We've met virtually. I'm not sure if we've actually ever met in person, but anyway. So that's the aim, that's my intent, that's why I do these videos every single week for you, and it is for you. And if you follow this page, And if you don't, why not? Like this page, please. And I asked, I can't remember which day it was. I think it might have been Thursday, Friday or Saturday. It was one of the days last week. Was asking about what it is that you want from this page. So for those of you that do follow and that do interact and do like what's on this page, let me know what you want more of. And that goes the same for these videos. You know, I'm more than happy to distill out from conversations that I've had with people, themes and topics that we can talk about. Excuse me. But equally, it's great if it comes from you, because then I know where you're at and what it is, what your needs are and how best I can help and support you. So please do make sure that you interact in that way, and you can message me either directly on this page, or you can email me, Jules, Jules, at juleswyman.com, JULESWYMAN. You can, as I've said, type away at any point, say hello, join the conversation. Do the likes, whoever that was, at that perfect timing as well, the likes and the hearts, especially when stuff is making sense. If you are the kind of person, hey, Chloe, to those of you, hope you're feeling better, sweetheart. To those of you who are watching live and don't necessarily want to interact that much verbally typing, that's me typing, by the way. But those of you who want to interact in that way but are not sure about what you want to say, then feel free to do that through likes and hearts and all of that. And you can practice now, by the way. And just let me know that stuff's making sense by letting the hearts go, the likes go, all of that kind of stuff. Just tap away till your heart's content with those. If something that I do share this evening doesn't make sense, or it's not resonating with you in some way, shape or form, then rather than do an angry face or a sad face, then let me know, because it's really, there goes some hearts, perfect, and some likes, excellent, play away, bring them all on. Let me know what it is specifically, because there is a time delay, like there has been from when I said do the likes and the hearts, and now they're ploughing on in, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. But let me know what specifically isn't resonating or doesn't make sense just by typing it in. Because if you put an angry face or a sad face or a confused face, if you wanted to, because there's a time delay, it's not that I'm so sensitive I'm going to be impacted. But if there's a time delay between, or there is a time delay between me saying things and you reacting, it's a challenge for me to then know what that connects to, and I could end up waffling on about something that doesn't resonate with you and doesn't make sense, and isn't explaining what it is that you want. So if you need some more information on something, or you need to dig down a little bit deeper, then please do. Please don't wait to be invited. Type away, say hi, join in straight away, and let's get this. It's a conversation after all. Let's get this conversation going. And I've just realised I have no clock other than the one behind me to kind of keep me on in check time-wise. So good luck, everybody, with that. Please also remember, as I've said, there's loads of hearts and loves coming in again. Please remember, as I've said, that this is about you. This is about reaching, hey, Shelley, as many people as possible. So feel free, if you're listening to this and you think, oh, I wish that Mary, Sue, Trevor, whoever it is, was listening to this, send it to them or tag them in it, just in the same way you would do with anything else on Facebook. It's like being at a party, or like being, you've gone to the cinema and you've seen an amazing film, or you've gone to a restaurant and had an amazing time that you want other people to know, and you might post that on Facebook. Then do the same with this, and all of the videos are still on there. There's more than 100 on there now, covering a wide range of different topics and actually being delivered from around the world in various places as well. So please make sure that you share and let people know that this is going on. Invite them over. Drop in, say hi, share your thoughts. I think I have covered everything. Rapid fire in 10 minutes time. So, how to stop feeling crap. I know it's a very eloquent title this evening. How to stop feeling crap and start feeling good. One of the things I've noticed about you lot is that you lovely, 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 gorgeous people react quite a lot to topics when I talk about things going wrong, being crap, being awful. And so I thought I'd just cut to the chase with it this evening and just say what it is, say what it is that I'm going to be talking about and starting the conversation on and seeing where it goes. So, how to stop feeling crap and potentially start feeling good. There are no guarantees with this. But what I will say is it's just one thing. It's one simple thing that I want to share this evening that has made quite a significant impact for me in my life, in all aspects of it, personally, professionally, as a coach, as a speaker, in so many different areas. It's just changed how I interact with things on a day-to-day basis, and by doing that it's given me an opportunity, and there's actually no guarantees that I am going to feel good, but there tends to be, what I notice is there tends to be less of a what's the word I'm looking for, I suppose, a step away from the crap for want of a better way of putting it. And when I say how to stop feeling crap, what I'm talking about is how to stop feeling down or anxious or worried or fed up or sad and it's not about making any of those emotions wrong, by the way. I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't have any of those emotions. But I do think that this one thing can help us bring into perspective whether the emotion that we're experiencing, excuse me, itchy nose, is helpful and also to help us get clarity on where it's coming from. And the simple word that I want to say up front, and I would invite you, if you have a pen and paper, to write this down. And if you are an avid viewer of these, you will know that I've spoken about this in various guises before as well. But it's about assumptions. And if you're an avid follower of the page, and if not, why not? You'll know that I posted a blog post today, which is all about this as well, called Don't Believe the Hype. But assumptions. You may or may not have heard the phrase about if you assume something, it makes an ass of you and me. If you break the word down, ass, you, me, assuming, that's what can happen for us. And I think it's really important for us to start recognizing that I would say the majority of the time that we feel crap, it's because we're assuming something. And now, what do I mean by that? Quite often what we're assuming could be classed as limiting beliefs, could be classed as simple thoughts, it could be classed as beliefs in general, but these assumptions that we're making usually are about ourselves and situation in relation to situations or other people. And I would say the majority of the time that those assumptions are not helpful. They're not kind, they're not supportive, they're not constructive, they're not caring, they're just not helpful at all. And the sort of assumptions that I am talking about is when we assume somebody like me couldn't do something like that. Or I might assume that somebody like me couldn't have a conversation with someone like that. I might assume someone like me couldn't afford something like that. Or I might not even describe it as someone like me, but I might be assuming I can't do that. Or I can't afford that. And we make assumptions. So, for example, I know that it's interesting, and I know this may seem like a random assumption to chuck out there, but it's one that's popped up a number of times in conversation with people. You may or may not know that a couple of years ago, I was on BBC Breakfast Television and did an interview about happiness, because a happiness survey had come out and the UK didn't fare very well. Hi, Rebecca. Good evening. It's nice to have you here. And the UK hadn't gone very well within that survey. And so I was on the telly having this conversation. And what was interesting is the assumptions that people made about me and about my coaching. And these are people that know me. I'm not even talking about members of the public that I've never even met, but I'm talking about people that I know that have assumed that because I did that, X, Y, and Z. And it could be everything from I bet you I was inundated with people asking me out for dates. I bet you've tripled your prices. I bet your business has just absolutely blossomed ever since then. And it's all these kinds of assumptions. And very often, whilst they may sound like they're in favour toward me, it was very often to the detriment of the person that was saying it. And that's my experience, is so often these assumptions that we make. By the way, let me know if this is making sense, if it's resonating with you. Do the hearts or do the likes, let me know. What we end up doing is, without realising it, these assumptions create problems. And they create problems for us. So, for example, I remember a particular client, this is a number of years ago now, and we were working together in relation to her progression within the organisation that she was working in. And she got like about 3/4 of the way of a conversation. She said something very offhand about a particular meeting that she was going to. And I won't repeat the words that she used about the people that were going to be there, but let's just say it wasn't polite. And she was assuming that they were going to be a certain way. Now, she said, but they've always been like that before. When I challenged her on it, they've always been like that before. And I said, I get that. I recognise that their behaviours have always been like that before. I said, but have you taken stock of how much you're bringing to that? What's your energy? I assume that person's not going to, let me speak and they're going to talk over me. So what then happens for me? Because when we make those kinds of assumptions about other people, it impacts our behaviour. It impacts how we show up and how we interact with that other person. Does this make sense? Let me know if this is making sense for you. And it can create problems in all sorts of things, whether it be to do with our work, whether it be to do with personally. And we do this a lot with people that we know. There's lots of hearts and thumbs coming in now, which is awesome. We do this with people that we know. So it's usually our intimate partners, our family members, and people we know at work. We just assume that this is how it's going to be, rather than taking a step back and getting clear on that assumption. So Shelley said, after the last time you spoke about assumptions, I started to catch myself when I was going down the road. Let me see this. Was going down the road of assuming, and I've been stopping to ask myself questions. It's quite surprised to find how many emotions and storylines in my mind that assuming can create. Hope that all makes sense. I think it makes sense, Shelley, absolutely. And I know that when we've had a conversation one-to-one, that I've challenged on that, and that is something that I do when I'm working with people one-to-one, is I listen out. And it's interesting, very simply, the amount of people, and I'm trying to think of an example, where people will say, yeah, I know X is going to happen, or I know so-and-so is going to do this. And I'll say, how do you know that? Well, okay, I don't know that. It's like, well, okay, well, you're making that up then. It's not a truth. And yet your maybe defensive behaviours or your attitude or your mindset or your emotional, your thought processes, which are then going to lead to your emotions, that's going to trigger all of that before you even got into conversation with that person. So the simple practice that Shelley's talking about there, I'm pointing like that because I'm pointing downwards to the comments. The simple practice that Shelley's talking about is catch those assumptions. And my offering to add on that, to make it very clear for you, is just to ask yourself 2 simple questions and get the clarity. What am I assuming and what do I know? What am I assuming and what do I know? And when I say what do I know, it's not helpful to base what you know on past events. So you can't say, I know they are going to behave in that way. You can say, I know they have behaved that way in the past, but you don't know that they are going to behave that way in the future, which is, if you're going to meet somebody, that's what it is in the future. And by the way, if any of you genuinely are good at predicting the future, can we please have a conversation? Because maybe you and I could be in a different business together and we could start doing some work in a different way. Because if we could predict the future, seriously, there's people out there that have paid big bucks for that. But we can't predict the future, can we, really? What we can do is we can get clear on what it is that we are assuming, and get clear on what it is that we know. Now, why does that make such a big difference? And why have I then said how to stop feeling crap and how to start feeling potentially good? Is that it helps clarify for you as to what's real and what's not. It helps you to get that perspective and take that step back from what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that person's going to be in that way, or I'm assuming that I'm going to be I'm assuming I'm going to get it wrong. I'm assuming I'm going to be late. I'm assuming I'm going to fall over. I'm assuming I'm not going to know what to say, or I'm assuming that I'm going to get nervous, or it doesn't matter what it is. But at least you've got the opportunity to get really clear that it's not the truth. It's something that you are assuming. It's not actual fact. It's just something you're assuming. The challenge that we have, and this has been proven in so many different fields now, be it from thousands of years of texts with regards Buddhist texts right the way through to neuroscience, and all sorts of different disciplines have backed the belief, as it originally was, that our brains, the way that our thinking brains work, they don't know the difference between what we make up, what is imagined, and our bodies are physiologically react in a very similar way to the stuff that we make up, as well as the stuff that's real. So that's why we have to be careful, because if we can end up making ourselves feel crap by the stuff that we're assuming, just by the stuff that we're making up. Basically, we're assuming it, we're making up a whole heap of BS, belief systems and bullshit. But we're making all of this stuff up. Apologies if you've got a young person listening and I didn't give you a little warning that I might use the S word. But we're making all this stuff up, and we're letting that guide our lives, and that then can impact us to make us feel crap. So the more that we can get clear for ourselves as to what we're assuming and what we know, and as Shelley said, when you catch yourself going down the road of assumption, I like that phrase, Shelley, I might steal that. When you catch yourself going down the road of assumption, just stop and ask yourself what's going on here, and what am I assuming? What am I assuming, and what do I know? I don't know that someone's going to behave a certain way. I don't know that I'm going to behave a certain way. But I can check in with myself, and I can look at that from a different perspective. So I've spoken very fast, and I've got 5 minutes left. So what are your thoughts on that? What is this simple? And by the way, type away. What is your takeaway from this evening's conversation, and or what questions do you have? Type away. Let me know. And whilst you're doing that, my invitation would be for you to go onto the page after the video, obviously, and look at the "Don't Believe the Hype" article that I shared. It's an old blog post, but I thought it was really relevant. It was obviously something that triggered for me with the conversations I had with clients last week. It came up a lot about assumptions and about how we are blocking ourselves from feeling good because we're assuming that things are going to go wrong. Now, there is a primal part of our brain that wants to be on alert to check and keep us safe, but the majority of the stuff is embellished and dramatized and made up and exaggerated in a way that is just not helpful. It's not kind, and it's not resourceful for us. And we need to be aware. We need to be aware that we're doing it, and we need to look at how we can make a different choice with that. So Lenka has put, assuming something can put you in a bad mood before whatever it is that's happened. That's even if it does actually happen. There is and I'm possibly going to get the quote slightly wrong, but it's a Mark Twain quote. The author Mark Twain said something along the lines of 90% of what I worried about never even actually happened. Apologies if I did get the quote slightly wrong. But it is about recognising that we don't know. Like I've just driven back today from down south, and I could have assumed, having done the journey earlier this weekend, that I could have assumed that the traffic would be just as bad as it was last week, and that Therefore, it's going to take ages and I'm going to be stuck in traffic. And I could assume that even though it was sunny down there, it was going to be miserable. I could have assumed all of these things, which then probably would have got me quite antsy, probably a bit tense, possibly a bit stressed, basically feeling crap before I'd even got in the car. Now, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know if any of those things are going to happen. So all I know is that there are various points on the road that I'd be travelling on that there were roadworks. I don't know what level of traffic is going to be on at that time. I don't usually travel at that time on a Monday in that direction. So anything outside of that is just not helpful and just doesn't need my attention. So just be mindful of just how much you're making up that's not helpful to you. Rebecca says, my takeaway is to remember to check in with myself and ask the question, what do I know and what am I assuming? And what does that change how I react to something? Yeah, that's a great distinction there, Rebecca, to get clarity for yourself. Okay, well, if I'm assuming this, how's that impacting on me? And if I'm focusing on what I know, how does that impact on me? Because then it starts to give you a choice of recognizing, well, I don't want to focus in on the assumption stuff because actually I do feel crap and I've got more opportunity of feeling good when I'm focusing in on what I know. So I love that distinction, Rebecca. Thank you very much for that. That's great. So that was what I wanted to share with you this evening, really, is I wanted to give you that as a clarity as to how you can use something which I do. Are you back? Excellent. Sorry, there seemed to be a little interruption there. What could be classed as a very simple tool, but can make such a big difference. And I know from working with people one-on-one that just by asking them to clarify what they know, or do they know that for certain, can have such a big shift, because it helps our brains to look at things in a different way. And that was my invitation, well, that is my invitation to you and what I wanted to share with you this evening, so that you've got the opportunity to do that for yourself. So I'm hoping that you have got something to take away, whether you've watched this live from start to finish, whether you've just dipped in. If you've just dipped in and you've missed most of it, then about 5 minutes, if not less, after I press finish on this, it will be back up again, so you can go and have a listen again. And of course, for those of you who watch on the recordings as well, please do interact in the same way as I've mentioned, because I get notifications and I do come back and I do check them and I do interact. So if you've got any questions, any thoughts, comments, your takeaways, then let me know what they are, because it's always great to hear from people. And my intent is purely to share whatever I can so that it can make a difference for you, so that you know what your next moves are to help you, so that you get clarity on what it is that you need. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. There's lots of thumbs and hearts coming in as we're speaking. So, next week, get your thinking caps on, because I think that I might be jumping the gun here. I haven't got my diary to hand. Let me work this out. Maybe not. I was going to say that next week will be the open forum, but I think it's the 23rd next Monday. So therefore it won't be, because that will mean that it'll be the open forum will be the following week on the 30th. So scrap that. I am looking for a topic for next week. Do you have one? Do you have a topic that you would like me to start a conversation on and see where it goes? If you have, then send me a message, let me know. You can do that on this page directly, or you can email me, jules@juleswyman.com. So I hope you found this of value. Please feel free to share these videos, invite people to like the page, join the page, come on over and have a party. If there's anything that you would like to know more about working with me one-to-one, or workshops or talks, then again, message me direct. It just goes to me. It's only me that sees it, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In the meantime, as my article says, don't believe the hype. Listen out for those assumptions. And as Shelley said, be aware what road you're walking down, and stop yourself and make a choice that's going to be far more resourceful, helpful, kind, considerate to you, because that's what's going to make a difference for you, so that you can start feeling better, good, happy, whatever the word is that you want. So I look forward to speaking to you again next week. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Bye. Whoops. What a dramatic way to end.